Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Daily English Buddy.
Welcome back, guys. I am Alex, and if you want to improve your B1 or B2 English without reading a boring textbook, you are in the exact right place.
And I'm Justine. To keep things super quick today, remember to grab your free PDF study guide from the description. It has all the vocabulary and grammar rules we are going to cover right now.
Which is good, because today we are talking about the absolute worst part of the English language. The tiny words that cause massive chaos. Prepositions. In, on, and at.
They really are the worst. They are so small, but they drive every single language learner completely crazy.
Because in many other languages, you just use one single word for all of these situations. It is so much easier.
I completely agree. But in English, if you choose the wrong tiny word, you completely change the meaning of your entire sentence.
And changing the meaning can lead to some really, really awkward situations. I actually had a terrible misunderstanding with my boss because of this.
Okay, making a language mistake with your boss is terrifying. Tell me everything.
So, this happened a few years ago when I was working at a marketing agency in London. A good friend of mine was having a minor surgery at the local hospital.
That is a stressful day, but very nice of you to help him out.
Right. I told my boss I needed to take the morning off work. I said I was going to pick my friend up and drive him home. My boss said it was totally fine.
That sounds very responsible. You communicated your schedule clearly.
I thought so too. But on the morning of the surgery, my boss sent me a text message. He asked, "Hey Alex, where are you right now? We urgently need a document from your desk."
A standard office question. How did you reply?
I was walking into the building, so I replied very quickly from my phone. I wrote, "Sorry, I am in the hospital right now. I will call you later."
Oh no, Alex. You did not. You told your boss you were in the hospital?
I did. And for our listeners who might not know the difference, saying you are in the hospital means you are the patient. It implies you are sick or injured and lying in a hospital bed.
Exactly. It sounds like a massive medical emergency. What you meant to say was that you were at the hospital. Being at the hospital just means you are visiting the building as a guest.
Exactly. It is a tiny preposition, but it changes everything. My boss didn't remember that I was picking up a friend. He completely panicked.
What did your boss do? Did he call an ambulance?
Worse, he told the entire office that I was having a medical emergency. He told everyone that poor Alex was in the hospital.
That is incredible. How did you find out?
When I finally arrived at work 3 hours later, holding a coffee and feeling completely fine, there were get-well-soon balloons tied to my desk.
Balloons? Your coworkers bought you balloons because of a grammar mistake?
They did. The human resources manager actually ran over to hug me. I had to stand there and explain to 30 people that I was not dying. I just used the wrong preposition. It was absolutely humiliating.
That is absolutely priceless. But it is such a classic B1 mistake. The difference between being in a building as a participant versus being at a building for a specific reason.
It really is. For example, if you say, "I am in the school," it usually means you are physically standing inside the building. But if you say, "I am at school," it means you are attending classes as a student.
Exactly. Or in bed versus on the bed. If you are in bed, you are under the blankets ready to sleep. If you are on the bed, you are just sitting on top of the mattress, maybe reading a book.
Prepositions of place are just traps. They are traps waiting for us to fall into them. But Justine, I know you had a massive disaster trying to meet someone in the city because of these little words.
Oh, the great city disaster. I try to forget about this one. This happened when I was trying to meet a guy for a first date.
First dates are already stressful enough without adding confusing grammar. Where were you supposed to meet?
We were trying to meet in the center of the city, near the main central train station. He sent me a text message saying, "I am waiting at the station."
Okay, that makes perfect sense. At the station refers to the general location. Where did you go?
I walked to the main entrance of the building and stood by the big clock. But after 10 minutes, I didn't see him anywhere.
So he wasn't at the entrance. What did you do next?
I texted him back. I wrote, "I am here, but I don't see you. I am on the station."
Wait, you said you were on the station?
I did. In my native language, we use the equivalent of on for large public places. But in English, saying you are on the station sounds like you climbed a ladder and you are standing on the physical roof of the building.
I am just imagining your date looking up at the sky, trying to find you sitting on the roof with the pigeons.
It was so stupid. He replied immediately and said, "On the roof? What? No, come inside. I am in the cafe."
Okay, so he was in the cafe, inside the enclosed space. That is the correct use of in.
Right. So I walked inside the huge train station, but there were 4 different cafes. I panicked. I called him on the phone, and because I was stressed, my English completely broke down.
Oh no. Panic English is the worst kind of English. What did you scream into the phone?
I shouted, "Which cafe? I am at the train."
At the train? That sounds like you are standing right next to the physical metal train on the tracks.
I know. He was so confused. He yelled back, "Wait, did you get on a train? Don't leave." We spent 20 minutes walking in circles because we couldn't communicate our exact locations using in, on, and at.
That is a perfect example of why these prepositions matter so much. If you are communicating locations, precision is everything. Let's actually give our listeners a really easy rule to remember for locations.
Absolutely. Let's do the triangle rule. Imagine an upside-down triangle. At the very top, the widest part, we have the word in. We use in for very large general places with boundaries.
Exactly. So you say, in a country, in a city, in a neighborhood. For example, I live in England. I am in London. I work in Soho.
Then, as we go down the triangle, it gets a little more specific. The middle section is on. We use on for surfaces and lines, like streets, roads, and avenues.
Right. So you say, I am on Oxford Street. The shop is on the corner. The book is on the table. It is sitting on a surface.
And finally, at the very bottom point of the triangle, the most specific part, we use AT. We use AT for exact addresses and specific points on a map.
For example, I live at 221B Baker Street. I am waiting at the door. I will meet you at the bus stop.
The triangle rule is so helpful. In is general. On is more specific, and at is exact.
Okay. The triangle rule is great for buildings and streets. But wait, we have to talk about the one rule where literally everyone makes the biggest mistake.
Oh no, you mean transportation.
Yes. If you want to sound like a native speaker, you have to pay attention right now, because transportation prepositions are completely illogical. Why am I in a car but on a bus? They are both vehicles.
I actually have a great trick to fix this. It is called the walk-around rule. It works 90% of the time. If the vehicle is large enough for you to stand up and walk around inside it, you use on.
Oh, that makes so much sense. So you are on a bus, on a train, on a plane, and on a ship, because you can walk down the aisle.
Exactly. You stand up and walk to your seat. But if the vehicle is small and you have to sit down immediately without walking around, you use in.
So you are in a car, in a taxi, or in a helicopter. That is such a brilliant cognitive trick. It saves so much memorization.
It really does. Now, we have talked a lot about places and transportation, but these exact same three words, in, on, and at, are also used for time, and they cause just as much panic.
Oh, prepositions of time. The same upside-down triangle rule actually applies here too. Let's start at the widest part again, in.
We use in for long, general periods of time, months, years, seasons, and decades. I was born in 1990. We travel in the summer. My birthday is in October.
Perfect. Then we get a little more specific with on. We use on for specific days and dates.
For example, I will see you on Monday. The party is on the 4th of July. We don't work on my birthday.
And finally, the most specific point of the time triangle, at. We use at for exact clock times and specific moments.
Right. The meeting starts at 3 p.m. I always feel tired at midnight. We eat turkey at Thanksgiving.
It is so logical when you break it down like that. But of course, because it is English, there are always exceptions that try to ruin your life.
Always. Like the parts of the day. You say in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, but you say at night. Why? Nobody knows.
It is just to torture language learners. I am convinced of it. Or what about the difference between being in time and on time? That is a very subtle difference that B2 learners need to know.
That is a great one to explain. If you are on time, it means you are exactly punctual. If the train leaves at 5 and you arrive at 4:55, you are on time.
Right. You met the schedule perfectly. But if you are in time, it means you arrived just before it was too late. You almost missed it. I ran to the station and caught the train just in time.
Exactly. You didn't miss it, but it was close. Okay, Alex. I think we have covered enough rules for one day. Let's completely change the end of the episode.
Oh? What are we doing?
No more boring recap lists. We are doing a rapid-fire buddy quiz. Listeners, play along with us. Shout the answers at your phone.
I love it. put me on the spot. Let's go.
Question 1. Quick test. Which is correct? I will see you in Monday or on Monday?
3 seconds to guess. It is on Monday. We use on for specific days.
Correct. Question 2. Are you in a taxi or on a taxi?
Think about the walk-around rule. You are in a taxi because you cannot stand up and walk around inside it.
Exactly. Final question. If you are standing inside the building where doctors work, but you are just a healthy guest, are you in the hospital or at the hospital?
Oh, my absolute favorite mistake. If you are visiting, you are at the hospital. If you say you are in the hospital, your coworkers will buy you balloons.
You aced the quiz. And if our listeners want to ace their own quizzes, do not forget to download the free PDF study guide. The link is right there in the description.
Yes, grab the PDF. We read every single comment, so head down below and tell us, what is the funniest mistake you have ever made with in, on, or at? And please subscribe to our channel for daily English lessons.
Thank you so much for joining us on Daily English Buddy. Keep practicing, don't be afraid to make mistakes, and we will see you next time.
Bye everyone, see you tomorrow.